I'm back with another video. If you're new to my channel, then welcome. If you'd like to follow me on Instagram and Twitter, then please do. In today's video, I'll be talking about Stranger Things Season 4. I'll be talking about the show character by character. After that, I'll talk about stuff relating to the show. My original plan was to talk about Volume 1 and then Volume 2, but I decided to do it this way instead. Please keep in mind that I have notes on this phone, so if you see me looking down, that's why. Also, it's a really hot day, it's a really sunny day, so if you see this, it's because I'm fanning myself, and I also have the window open, so, and the window is also open, so if you hear noises, I apologise. But today's the best day to film, because I'm not doing anything right now, and plus it's really sunny, so yeah. Spoilers in this video, so if you haven't watched the show and you would like to, then please get this video, and once you've seen it, you may come back. But if you don't care about spoilers, then keep on watching. If I remember to, I'll put pictures on the screen when I'm talking about a character. So the first character I'm going to be talking about is Hopper. At the end of season 3, it is revealed that Hopper is alive. The main plot for his story is that he's sent to a Russian prison. And we see times that he tries to break himself out. We also see how he becomes friends with Enzo, and we hear more about his backstory, which was really sad. But seeing him reunite with Joyce was so worth it. I'm so happy that they didn't kill him off in the end, because I would have seen the point of that, because they brought him back at the end of season 3 just to kill him off again. See at the point of that, because to everybody else he was already dead, which included Joyce, until she got that letter. So one of my favourite lines from Hopper is, I would die one day, but not today. It was so random, but I was speechless at the same time. The character I'm going to be talking about is Joyce. I start by saying I am very happy that Joyce is still here. I was so worried that she could die, because the scene of the trailer of Jonathan and Will together, I did think that the hug was either because Joyce died, or Mike died, or it was a coming out scene. So I'm glad she's still here. I love her relationship with Murray, and how for a lot of the season they focus on their friendship. Not only do I think Joyce is one of the best characters, I also think she's a very good parent figure. She's very caring, she's a very caring mom, and I know that she sees Lucas, Dustin and Mike as her other children, even though she doesn't say it. Next character I'm going to be talking about is Enzo. I am aware that Enzo isn't his actual name. My friend told me, but I don't remember the name that she said. I think it's Dimitri, but I'm not sure. So I'm going to be calling him Enzo. With Enzo, I really liked his character. I like how Enzo went from one of the guards who was secretly trying to break Hopper out, but then becoming a friend of Hopper's. I found his character very interesting, and it was funny, and he was funny as well. I hope we get more of his backstory in season 5. Right now I'm confused at where he is, since he wasn't in the car that Joyce and Hopper came out of. So I'm hoping he's back with his family, but he was a good new member of the team. The next character I'm going to be talking about is Murray. I really like Murray's and Joyce's friendship, and he was one of the characters that I really wanted to be saved after Volume 1, and I was so happy that he was. Something that I don't get is that Joyce and Murray crashed the plane, and they came out of it with no bloods or cuts or nothing like that, so I found that very weird. But the story of them working together to find Hopper was really good, but I thought his character was very funny, and I'm not sure if I like him more in this season than the last one, but he's still a very good character. The next character I'm going to be talking about is Jonathan. I am very disappointed with the way they treated Jonathan's character in the season. It's like they barely knew what to do with him. It makes me sad, because he's always been one of my favourites from the beginning, and so many other people's favourites as well. I've seen a lot of people say that they forgot Jonathan was there, and to make it worse, he was in one of the less interesting groups of season 4. We see that Jonathan and Nancy are on a rocky hill, but I will talk about that more when I get to Steve, even though Jonathan wasn't one of my favourite characters in the season, but I will always love him overall, and the fact that the scene between him and Will when they hug wasn't even in the script in the beginning is mind-blowing to me. The next character I will talk about is Nancy. I'm not gonna lie, I wasn't the biggest fan of Nancy, and I'm still not. She was kind of just there for me. I did find her funny, and I like her friendship with Robin, but I find Robin more interesting than I find her. I'm funny too when Vecna used her to get to Elle. I know a lot of people are thinking why Nancy of all people. There's a theory about her mom being Vecna's sister, so I do see why he probably could have chose her. And another reason why is because of Mike. I feel like Vecna knows that he's going to use. I think Vecna knows about Mike and Will, or about Will's feelings, and he's going to use that trauma in season 5. One of my favourite moments of Nancy was when she was shooting Vecna. That's when she looked very badass. She was a woman on a mission. This is when I love Nancy and her character, and when she's with Robin, I really like her as well. The whole Steve versus Jonathan situation I don't really care about, but that's how I feel towards Nancy. So the next character I'm going to talk about is Steve. Everyone is on the Steve Harrington love train, and I'm right there with them. The fact that he's still here after they originally were going to kill him off in season 1 is really good because he's one of my favourites. And the fact that he went from being a jerk to a fan favourite means anything is possible. His relationship with Dustin is stronger than ever. His friendship with Dustin is stronger than ever. And we also see his friendship with Robin, and I love how accepting he is of her. The way he was screaming Henderson when we went out of the Quill's house, the way that he left that episode with Steve being choked and beaten by the bats. I was so scared for him, but then the gang came and helped him, and yes, I thought that part when he stepped on the back and whipped him was hot. So when everybody's like, oh, that's attractive, I thought it was attractive as well. So with the whole Steve and Nancy thing, I think they are cute, and I can understand why people ship them. Me personally, I feel like Steve deserves better, because I remember how he was treated in the past when they were together, and the fact that Nancy still with Jonathan. And yes, we can see that they're on the last leg, so Jonathan and Nancy, but the point is that she knows they're still together, and plus it annoys me how when she was asked by Jonathan if they're okay, she makes it seem like they are. So liking both of them is fine, and I understand where she's coming from, but saying that they were okay when they're clearly not is why which is why I'm not really a fan of the whole Steve with Nancy situation. I really hope Steve gets a love interest. I think it was supposed to be Robin, but they changed it into her being a lesbian. A scene that I don't think that many people have talked about is when he was saying about having a relationship that is more than sex, and I relate to him so much. He deserves someone that's going to give him what he's talking about and how he wants to have children. That's really sweet, but I didn't like the fact that he was saying it about how he was it with Nancy. Like, I thought that was weird. That train has left the station and it doesn't need to come back. Am I saying if they did it in season 5 would I hate it? No, I wouldn't hate it, but I wouldn't be happy about it at the same time. But I would accept it more if she was still with Jonathan than if she was with Steve. But that's how I feel. The next person I'm going to talk about is Angela. No, not Angela, sorry. Is Argyle. So Argyle is Jonathan's friend. He's the other friend that gets high with him or stoned with him. He's mostly there for the comic parts of the show, which I thought was fun, was nice, especially with a season that was very dark at times. I hope it's used more in season 5 because a lot of people, including me, didn't think he would be safe in Flame 2. Not because we don't like him, but because we didn't really see what else he can do with him, because he's kind of like the comic relief. But I do like the part when he was saying to Jonathan, if she's still in love with you, like if she's still in love with you alive, why are you here? And how Jonathan was saying to him, and how he was saying to Jonathan how it didn't make sense. And I found it funny because Fred was saying similar things to Nancy. I decided I would talk about Fred now since there isn't that much to talk about him. So the next character I'm going to talk about is Fred. Fred is another character who gets pregnant. He's with Nancy on the journalism, and his trauma is to do with a car accident. In my opinion, out of all of them, his one was the least sad to me. When Nancy goes around trying to sneak into Eddie's trailer, he ends up going to the woods, and I think Nancy sees him on the road. In my opinion, Fred's one was the least sad compared to Patrick, which we will get into soon, but Fred did seem like a funny person. So the next person I'll talk about is Patrick. Patrick is one of the boys on the football team that Jason is on and Lucas was on. Patrick's one was really sad because we could tell that he was going to be the victim for a long time because he kept on hearing the clock. And so it's the same kind of signs to what Chrissy heard. The way he went from out of the water and then did the whole the body moving thing, and then he dropped back into the water. And seeing Jason holding his body, he was sad. His trauma was that he was being abused because Lucas says that he would come to practice with Marks, but Lucas never asked him about it. He was a good character though, and he was the only one from the team that seemed like a decent person. He wasn't a jerk like Jason. The next character I will talk about is Robin. I love how Robin has become a part of the team and we're getting more scenes of her. I like how she's the voice of reason and we see more of her sexuality. But what I love about her is that her story isn't just about her sexuality. Like, she's just a person who happens to like girls. That's what she is. But she's very funny, and I love her how her friendship with Nancy, I like that. And when the part when she goes to that guy because she wants to see Quill, I forgot his name, but when she wants to see him, and then she's saying that speech, that was one of the best scenes, and how they were running away afterwards, because basically the guy found out that she was lying, so she's like, oh, why don't you come to my office so we can talk about it while we wait for the police? So that scene was very funny. So the next character I'm going to talk about is Will. I will start off by saying justice for Will. Apart from Max, his story was the saddest in the season. We see how he's the third wheel to Max and Elle's relationship. We see Will has a painting, and there's many theories about what the painting is. His main storyline is about being in love with his best friend and how that story develops. Before this season, I wasn't a biased shipper. I didn't ship by it all. But Volume 1 gave me so much hope. But then with Volume 2, I was let down, especially with Will's character. As I said earlier, Will's story was one of the saddest. Noah is one of the best characters. Noah is one of the best actors, especially in that scene in the van when he gives Mike the painting. Was I mad that it wasn't them on the swings? Yes, I was. However, I liked what it turned out to be. I do realise that it would have been too obvious if it was them on the swings. I do have hope that we would get a picture of them on the swings in the future. Since Elle said that Will did loads of painting, she said Will was painting a lot. So I doubt that that was the only painting that he was working on. The next character I'll talk about is Mike. I want to start off by saying that I know a lot of people don't like the character of Mike. In season 4, I see why people don't like him, and I understand why people, and I see people say that they never liked him from the beginning. This is the part when people lose me. He's funny, he's charming, and he's a really great friend to Will. I do agree that he's lost his way, especially in the 4th season, but I feel like he will find his way more in season 5. And he's getting, in the beginning of season 4, he was a jerk, but then they had that moment, they apologised, and he's becoming better now. So this season 4 Mike is learning, let's call it that. He's learning. We already know that Will's gay. We already know that Will's gay, even though they haven't spelled it out. We see Mike We see how Mike is treating his best friend and making him feel like the third wheel. Something we don't see a lot is Mike's point of view, meaning what's going on in Mike's head. This is something I really hope we get more in season 5. I could go on and on with why I love Bylaw and how I feel about them being endgame, but what I'm going to say is how I feel like Mike's in denial, and the reason why he's coming across to Will like he is because it's like the situation when a person would go, this is your fault that I'm like this, you made me this way, or why does it have to be you? There's a word that I've heard a lot, and the meaning does sound like how I feel Mike is, and fear, and the word is internalized homophobia. There are people that say that Mike will regret Will if he comes out to him because he's so in love with Elle. I feel like the love that he has for Elle is not in a romantic way. He's scared of losing her because with her, he's pretending to be normal, or what the world sees as normal. However, with Will, he's more open with himself, even though we don't see Mike's point of view as much. That many times, what we do see is a lot of facial expressions from Mike. One of the scenes that I remember a lot is when they were burying the agent's body, and he kind of like turned at him and then shook his head. It's like he shook his head and then went back to what he's doing. So it's like he was saying, oh, stop that, why are you doing that? That's your best friend, who's also a guy. I do believe that Mike is bi and in denial, which is why he's acting like he has. So season 4, Mike has a lot to figure out, to do about himself. I'm happy that him and Will are getting better, and Mike took the responsibility for his actions. I know so many people who have thoughts about Mike and say how Finn used to be such a good actor, and now he's fallen off, but Mike is still one of my favourites, and I'm excited to see where his story goes in season 5. And then I've got update, my hope for Bylaw has now rise, and I'm currently 8 out of 10. The Bylaw scene for the Dear Billy episode was leaked or posted. Also, Noah, who is the person who plays Will Byers, confirmed that Will is 100% gay and is in love with his best friend Mike Wheeler. This was very obvious, but him saying it gives us even more hope. The reason why I'm at 8 is because after volume 2 I was very disappointed after episode 8. I loved episode 8 and I think it was one of the best episodes in the season, but episode 9 has been very rushed and all over the place. So I feel like how I did before No Way Home, I don't want to put all my hope out and be let down. Even if they don't make it canon, it will always be canon to me, and it's just wouldn't make sense not to be canon at this point after all of this. And Will deserves a happy ending, and we deserve to see what's going on in Mike's head. So the next person I'm going to be talking about is Elle. We get more of Elle's backstory. Elle's getting her parents back, and to be able to do that, she has to be put into this test where we see her memories, because her memories are the things that are blocking her powers. So we also see her relationship with Mike, and how Mike doesn't say I love you anymore. You see how she comes to the realization that she was never the monster. It's always been Dr. Brenner. We will come to him later on, but I love Elle as a character. I am a bad shipper, but I do think that Maleficent is very cute, especially the scene when they were at the pizzeria. I love Elle, and I'm happy she got her powers back, and her reaction to seeing Hopper made me very happy. There are people that ship Elle with Max because they have way better bond than 11, and plus in the montage that Mike did, it was going like when she had the things around her neck, it was getting more tighter when she was talking. A lot of people saying that it didn't get looser until she looked at Max. So people think that she would be with Max because Max is bisexual. Against the possibility of Elle and Max being together, however, I keep on thinking about Lucas because Lucas is in love with Max, the way that Will is in love with Mike, but I think they are the least toxic relationship in the show, so I really hope they don't break up. But that's my opinion on that. The next character I'm going to talk about is Max. I think the first thing I'm going to say is that Max deserves an award. The first thing I want to say is that Sadie deserves an award. And I heard that she was robbed of it, so that makes me very angry. We all know that Sadie could act, and she's one of the best on the show. And she's going places. She's 100% going places. A lot of Max's storyline is about how she lost Billy, who is her brother, and Vecna uses that trauma towards her. We see that she's decided to write letters just in case the plan doesn't work. So in case she ends up dying. When I watched that part with the letter, I was crying, and hearing the things she said made me cry even more. And that montage of the pictures of her and her friends, and then her running and then in the background playing that song, which is I think it's called Running Up That Hill, and that was a really beautiful moment. And then her saying I'm still here after she drops into she drops on the floor and Lucas catches her. I love Max, and Max is one of the characters that came in the second season, but she's made such an impact on the show and then in the cast. The way that she was saying in Volume 2, when she was saying to Vecna about Billy, was so sad because she was saying things like, oh, why did that happen? And I kept on saying stop it because of how she went from saying, oh, a part of her died that day, and now saying that she wants it to happen. Looking back, I think they did that because she was trying to pretend like she didn't care because he might use Billy again, but that doesn't make sense to me because Will and Vecna have known that. But the episode was a mess, but the actors were great. Also the part when she was saying how she was not ready to die and how she couldn't see was very sad. And as soon as I saw her eyes, I knew she would possibly be blind if she survived. And for the people that says, well, they should have killed her off, then if they were just going to make her blind, I think she needs to sit down in the corner because she would still be a great character, and we still have the letters, so I feel like they will probably use that letters to get her memory back. Okay, the next character I'm going to talk about is Lucas. I'm so glad that they didn't go the way I thought it was going to go with Lucas's character. At the start of the season, he comes on the football team, and it's kind of like he's betrayed his friends to become popular, but then we learned that's not the case. I was worried that he would become my least favourite character since I didn't know where the story was going to go, but I did completely understand what he was saying about being tired of being bullied. His relationship with Max is so good, and when he was saying about he doesn't need a letter, I'm right here, that's one of my favourite parts in Volume 1. Volume 2 is when I found that Caleb's acting was out of the water, and he deserves an award for that. The emotion that he put in the scenes, I feel like I was there with him. I'm glad he's getting more recognition, and he deserves it. And Lucas is one of the ones that some people are just waking up on because they're just seeing now how great he is. The next character I'm going to talk about is Erica. I love how Erica becomes a member of the Hellfire Club. I don't think she's in the season as much as the last one, But the scenes that she was in was really funny, and I love the scenes with her and Lucas, and I hope we get some more scenes with her like that in season 5. I don't know if I was the only one, but it looked like the person who plays Erica was trying to laugh because the face expressions, it looks like she was trying to laugh a couple of times, or even he was trying to not laugh. The scene when she was saying to the parents that it's obvious that they're lying was so funny because it came out of nowhere, and the way they think that the parents are the children and the children are the parents. I love Erica as a character, and I would love to see where they go with Erica. I want more of her, so I don't want the storyline of, oh, she's just his brother. I want her to have her own storyline. And I thought it was funny how she was saying to Lucas, tell me what's going on. Not how she was saying to Lucas, tell me what's going on, where she would tell Dustin was under her pillow or under her bed, and Lucas's face was priceless. The next character we talk about is Dustin. I really love Dustin as a character, and he's always been one of my favourites in general. I wish Dustin got more, because I don't really remember him doing that much in the season, but I love him. But I love how much he was there, and his continued relationship with Steve, and his new formed relationship with Eddie. I know in the fan, Will says Mike's the heart of the group, but I personally think Dustin is more the heart than he is, but I understand why Will said it was Mike. Me personally, I feel like Dustin is the heart of the group and Mike is like the armor. So Dustin protects a lot of the group, and he's very clever as well. I really hope that Dustin meets Susie in the next season, sorry. The next character I'm going to talk about is Eddie. So Eddie is the leader of the Hellfire Club, and he's the one that Justin's girlfriend meets for drugs. The amount of love that I've seen for this one character, I haven't seen this amount of love for a character in a show in a while. He's very relatable and so charming that you can't help but fall for him, and the actor is very good looking as well. The same way okay. The same way Max, when she's in the Billy episode, and he plays this song Running Up the Hill, and how that scene will always be iconic. It's the same thing when Eddie was playing the guitar and he was playing the song from Metallica. It will always be iconic as well. I personally didn't know the song, but my friend knew it, so when we were watching it together, she would say, oh, that's this song, and then she started singing it. And when I first watched Funny 2, I watched it with my friend, and other times I watched it by myself. There was times that she was getting emotional, and I had a lot of anxiety because I didn't want any of my favourite characters to die. So I ended up hugging my teddy, and I gave her one of them because she was getting emotional. Now I'm going to talk about my feelings towards Eddie's death. I feel like it's very lazy suspicion that he was going to die, but the way that they did it, I thought it was very silly. I had a theory that it was going to be either him or Steve. I knew that it was very unlikely that both of them would survive, so I knew if it wasn't Steve, then it would most likely be Eddie. The way that Eddie was killed off by the bats when Steve got choked and bitten by bats and was shirtless and he's still here. I understand that they want to go with the whole he didn't want to wave this time, but I think they could have executed the situation better because the whole I'm always out and then I'm going to turn around seems silly to me. The thing that I think would have made more sense if there was if him and Dustin was fighting, and then Dustin starts running, and instead of running away, he stays. That's what. Then Dustin would be like, "What are you doing?" Not be almost. out and then turn around. I thought that was silly. Another thing that doesn't make sense to me is how Justin was the only one who cared that he was gone, apart from the granddad. The town still thinks he's a murderer, so he died with people still thinking that he's a murderer. So that makes me really mad. Now I'm going to talk about now I'm going to talk about if I would want him back or not, because I see a lot of people saying that he would come back. So I want to say my thoughts on it and how I feel about the situation. He's a really funny character, he's charming, and in fact he has made loads of people in such a short time is really good. But in my personal opinion, I feel like he shouldn't come back. The reason for this is because they've had so many characters in the show, and I feel like because there's so many characters that there are many characters that are barely getting anything. So for example, Jonathan, I love Eddie's character, and I understand that they did this with Hopper. They brought him back, and I'm happy they did. And I wouldn't mind if they brought Eddie back, but I don't want them to bring him back if other characters are just going to be sidelined. In my opinion, the characters that was treated really badly in the season was Mike, Will, and Jonathan. So that's how I feel about Eddie. I'm going to show my shirt that I got. This is my Hellfire shirt. I would have wore it in this video, but it's a long sleeve, so I'm not going to. But in my that I did, and I was saying that I couldn't find it, so I wanted to make sure that I showed it in this video. Talk about Jason. Jason is the head footballer, is the head of the basketball team, and his girlfriend is in the cheerleading team. He's kind of the typical jerk that doesn't like nerds and calls them gross or weird or freaks. Then just when you think you don't hate this guy already, his girlfriend is killed, and the last person to see her is Eddie, who's part of the people that he doesn't like. In a way, I do see where he's coming from since he loves Chrissy, but the fact is that he was a jerk to them before that because he thinks that Eddie done it. And the scene when they're in the brown zone, I couldn't stop looking at his face because he looked terrible. The way he didn't look like he slept, I would say this act. I would like to say that this actor did really good. I like him as an actor, and I saw the interview of him, and you can see how different he is from his character, which I think is really nice. The last thing is that I didn't realise his death the first time I watched the episode, or I watched the show. It was very fast, that if you blink you would miss it, but it was so satisfying. And the fight between him and Lucas that we saw from the trailer was really good. So now I'm going to show this shirt. This is from the football team or the basketball team that I got. So it says Hawkins, so that's the front and that's the back. Okay. Even though I'm not a fan of Jason, I do like the shirt, so that's why I got it. And in the Primark, they also had the other one, but they didn't have my size, so that's why I didn't get it. Okay, the next character I'm going to talk about is the next character I'm going to talk about is Chrissy. Chrissy is the first character who gets pregnant, and she's the girlfriend of Jason. She's in the cheerleading team, and we see the trauma she's going through. I'm going to talk about something because I've seen a lot of people talk about it, and I agree that the scene between her and Eddie was cute, but I don't see them being a couple, even before she was pregnant. I would see them being very close friends, but a couple, I didn't see it, especially since we had Jason. Before I watched the show, I did hear about the season being more dark, so I already had the heads up. But the scene with her being pregnant, I had to turn away. I do find it very funny how the Chrissy Wake Up part became a song and it's now a meme. I do think she deserved way better. and I think she would have been a more interesting character than Angela. Talking about Angela, the next character I'll be talking about is Angela. Angela is the bunny, and she plays Elle, and the scenes when Elle is doing the presentation, the whole time I was thinking, shut up. That scene was one of the scenes that was one of the saddest. Was that scene was one of the saddest in the whole season, apart from the Dear Billy episode and the fan scene with Noah. The way she was talking about Mike, a part of me was like, I agree with you, because Finn Wolfhard is really attractive, but at the same time, when she was saying that, the things about Mike made me cringe, because I knew she was only saying it to sound like she was being nice, but when really she wasn't. But she got what came to her when Elle hit her in the face with something, hit her with the face with somebody's shoe from the ice rink. I saw this theory that Mike thought Angela was the girl that we liked, because he thought this was before he found out that she was a bunny, and I do think this could be very possible, but because of the looks and face expressions that Mike was making, so I do see this as a possible theory. I do understand that she's just there for the plot of being a bunny, so I don't see her going anywhere soon. So I did say in my theories that I thought she would be safe, and I was right. The next character I'm going to talk about is Dr. Brenner. I wish I could say this about I wish I could say the thing that I wish I could say about this character is bye-bye and leave it there, but the way I feel about this character is similar to how I feel about Carl from Euphoria. I don't remember if that's his name or not, but it's the dad of Nate. Seeing more of his children was interesting. So seeing about the other numbers was interesting, but the way that he was treating Elle was really annoying. I feel like the show wanted us to redeem his character, but every time they did something that could redeem his character, they went on and did something way worse that made you just be like, no, he doesn't deserve it. Do I think he cared about Elle? No, I don't. He wanted to control her more, and the thing that he actually cared about was just getting her powers back so he can control her. I wish we could have got more of Owen compared to him. The way they tried to redeem him at the end, but I loved that Elle didn't fall for it, which is why I said yes, Elle, and I loved her for that. He had his time, and that's what I have to say about him. The next character is Dr. Owens. I really like his character. I did think that Dr. Brown was going to kill him because of how much he wanted to help Elle, so I'm glad that didn't happen. I am confused that if he's alive or dead, because the last time we saw him was when he was taken to the jail or to the cell. I hope he's okay, because you can see that he actually cared about her, and I liked his relationship. He's and Elle's relationship was really good. The last character I'm going to talk about is Vecna/Henry number 1. So my thoughts on the character is that he was really interesting. Villain. I was very surprised when I found out that he was Henry, so Victor Crowell's son. When it turns out that the assistant is number 1, I was very surprised. We found out that it was him that was getting tased. Because I thought he was just trying to help her. The way that they took his story was really good, because I never thought that he might have not been trustful or truthful. I think I was happy that someone was just on her side, that I didn't think about he was not to be trusted. Something that I want to talk about is how a lot of people are making edits about Vecna and saying he's hot and stuff like that, and I personally don't see it. When he was number 1, he was very attractive, but as Vecna, I don't see it. I find it very sad that he killed his mom and his baby and his sister when she was set on fire and screaming in the court. The fact that this was all him really surprised me. So everything from the last 3 seasons, so when Billy was flayed and up to Will, it was all him. Right now he's hurt, but I know he will be back for round 2, and he's not going to go that easy. But I'm very excited to see what happens next with him. So now I'm going to say my thoughts on the season. My thoughts on the season is that it was really good. I felt like the first 3 episodes are really dark, but after that it was okay. Everyone did really good acting. I have my opinions on who was the best, but I will get to that soon. The Emerald season was really good, and I feel like it will continue to go down to be the best in Stranger Things history, and between the fandom. Season 5 will really have to knock our socks out of the water. Beat season 4, or to even come close to that. Do I feel like they could do it? Yeah, they could, but it would be very hard to, because apart from the last season, for the other seasons, I don't really remember it having that much of an impact than these ones. Now I'm going to say my rankings on the show. Please keep in mind this is my opinion, but if you have other opinions, please put them in the comments, or you can message me and we can discuss. So my favourite season is season 3. I'll explain why. I really like the friendship between Dustin and Steve. We get a lot of them in season 4, but I feel like their relationship is more better in season 3. We are introduced to Robin, and I love the scene where she comes out to Steve. I really love Billy's storyline, and I know that a lot of people don't like Billy as a character, but you can't disagree with that. His actor deserves a more, especially with the part when he's saying about it's not my fault, and he's saying about the shadow. The episode that's one of my favourites. That episode is one of my favourites, and I love the Els and Max friendship, and there's so many iconic lines in that season. Next is season 4, volume 1. This one I loved volume 1 so much. I could say that the Billy episode, it was a masterpiece, and leave it there. I can talk about the Dear Billy episode and leave it there, because the episode was really good, and as we know, the episode is a masterpiece. The way that the show hooked me more into the show, because before I was a casual watcher, because I always loved the show, but after that space between season 3 and 4, I wasn't as into the show anymore, because I had other shows coming out, and those shows were getting my attention more. I knew volume 2 was going to come out. I knew volume 2 wasn't going to be as good, but I knew it wasn't going to be as good, but I was hoping that it would at least be kind of close. So next is season 1. I'm going to be honest, I don't remember that much of the season. I don't remember things like how we've introduced the characters, how we fall in love with them. The season is good, and the fact that a lot of them were very young when they acted in the show makes me really proud. Next is season 2, another season I don't remember that much of, but I don't enjoy watching it. I don't remember enjoying it that much. What I do remember is that we got a lot of banter in the show, especially Protective Mike, when he was saying about how they met on the swings, and I know that Bob was in the season, and the way he sacrificed himself to get eaten by the demi-dogs, and it has an episode that a lot of people say is the best episode ever, and that's when we meet the other numbers. And to be honest, I think season 4 pretends that episode didn't exist. Them in the Ghostbusters costumes, and that was cute. Now that I come to think of it, I think I would switch season 2 and season 1, because writing it down, I remember more about season 2. Last for me is season 4, volume 2. Episode 8 was really good. Episode 9 was a letdown. It was rushed and all over the place. Volume 2 really did give us some really good scenes, but apart from that, I don't really see myself rewatching it a lot as much as episode 8. Now I'm thinking about it again. Maybe I will switch volume 2 and season 1 and make season 1 my least favourite, but that's my ranking. Talk about my favourite characters of season 4, and my favourite characters is Eddie, Matt, Will, Robin, Steve and Dustin. Shout out to Elle, Erica, Mike, Hopper, Joyce and Enzo. My favourite characters in volume 1 is Max, Will, Dustin, Eddie and Steve, and my characters in volume 2 are Lucas, Elle, Robin and Justin. I'm going to talk about a theory that I heard about, and it's about Max's mum being Henry number 1 / Vecna's sister, and I do think it's possible, and I do think that the therapist could be working with Vecna, because we didn't see her at all in season 2, but it did seem like she's up to something. In conclusion, season 4 was really good, and I'm glad I decided to watch it when I did. I've met really good people, and the fact that it's been a while since I've seen season 3, and it did come back that made the season really good, and I got people hyped into the show. And since watching season 4, I started watching parts of episode 3 again, And I'm going to be honest, a part of me is counting down for when the new season is out, and another part of me is thinking about how sad it's going to be since I know the show's ending, so I'm half and half. My thoughts on Volume 4. If I've missed out anything, then I'm sorry, but I'm pretty sure I haven't because I have been talking for a while. But if I miss anything, then I'm sorry. If there's anything you would like me to talk about, then you can message me or put it in the comments and maybe we can talk about it. But that is the end of the video. If you like it, please give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button so you don't miss out when I post. And I'll be guys see you next time.